All right, here to record another episode of the Protagonist seat. Alex? Alex? Come on, man, where is he? Supposed to meet here. This is his house. How did I get in? I'm not going to worry about that right now. Oh. Our setup is still here. Everything's plugged in. Computer's unlocked. Okay. Left a note here. Darian went camping. Not gonna be back for the episode this week. Well, don't see why he couldn't have freaking just texted me that, but that's okay. I took the list too. Well, looks like we're going to be doing a lot of this from memory. Well, welcome to another episode of the Protagonist Seat. I, as always, am Ian. Usually, I don't know, we start with like JoJo or something. This is a pretty good show. This is a cool episode. Last week was our obligatory, hey, we need to have the boys travel to somewhere else episode. So we got to recap. But this week, we learn from the boys are traveling and they receive communique over the computer from a mysterious benefactor who does all the prove your worth stuff. They do that whole shtick. Where basically he's like, hey, I know the boss's powers. I know a secret way that could be used to defeat him. But first, you guys gotta come to Rome. Bam, bam, bam. Road tripping. So, yeah, now they gotta go to the Colosseum. And they're gonna meet some mysterious man. But of course, can't go that smooth now, can it? We also get a little scene with our best favorite phone man, who is, I guess, Diavolo? I'm thinking he's Diavolo. Oh yeah, we learned that's the boss's name as well. Whatever. We get the phone ringing scenes where he holds an ice cream to his head. We know the bit at this point. There's nothing new. But basically the boss is like, something isn't right. Go, follow them, and destroy them. Bam, bam, bam. So he does that. But he also calls in reinforcements from the dude whose name is the Italian form of chocolate. It's like chocolat, something like that. And another dude whose name I can't remember because he's like a gimp. And the boys, they land on the shores of Italy in Roma. And it turns out something is not as it seems. Something's a little strange up in Hizzle. So they're looking, and eventually they figure it out. There's all kinds of weird mold on people. People get all moldy, and then they fall apart. And then that's no fun because, the whole murdering innocents bit. And basically we find out that Chocolat is a super sociopath, which is a lot of fun. Turns out he was a doctor, but he was recruited through he was recruited to Passion after he accidentally killed a patient. But because of course it has to go one level deeper, it wouldn't be JoJo if it didn't have like 17 levels of character development. Which, by the way, this all happens at once. This is one single long exposition scene where it's like, hey, we know this is the setup for... you guys know how this is. We got the setup episode for the stand battle, and then we got the stand battle. Next week, we're going to get the stand battle. But we learn he was a doctor, but oh wait, the boss figured out he was kind of a fucked up dude because he, turns out, actually killed those people just for grins and giggles. Yeah, he would diagnose people who weren't sick and then operate on them and then mess up the anesthetic so that they would wake up during surgery, which I'm sure is a lot of phobias for a lot of people out there, because that's kind of fucked. But anyway, regardless, he also tormented old people. Like, that was his first gig. He was like, I'm going to work at an old folks home, take care of old people. Actually, I think I'm going to just torment these old people. I'm going to tell them their families don't like them. I'm going to drive them to suicide, and I'm going to record their faces on a camera. So yeah, this dude is real fucked up. Smash cut. We're back in, I guess, series continuity present day. Even though it's not our present day, it's their present, whatever, don't worry about it. Smash cut to the time before the stand battle. Narancia and Mista are outside the turtle. All the rest of the boys and lady are inside the turtle, just chilling, and they notice that everything's going all super crazy, and they're like, what the hell? Mista reaches for his gun, but his hand gets all covered in that weird mold stuff, which is... I missed the real name. I know everyone comes here for the real names, but I missed it. So I'm just going to call him by his given subtitle name, Green Tea. Yes, his name is Green Tea. But regardless, Narancia freaks his shit at seeing that Mista now has mold stuff on his hand, and he jumps down into the boat, only to be covered by more mold stuff. What? Oh my god. Mista, he's got to save Narancia. He reaches down for Narancia, but then his fingers on his other hand get all moldy. Turns out the person who figures out the stand power first is Mista in this episode, as Narancia just kind of fumbles around covered in mold, and everyone else just kind of freaks out a little bit, being like, oh my god, there's mold everywhere. We're getting covered with the mold. It gets Trish, and I believe it gets Giorno a little bit as well. But nonetheless, Mista figures out, hey, if we go lower, then it hits us. Then the stand hits us. It attacks. We just gotta get high. Turns out all you gotta do to beat Green Tea is just get high. Just get real high. Enjoy that green tea. Where was I? Oh, right. It's weird because I don't have Alex. He's not going to be able to remember the names for me. He's not going to be able to fill the dead time when I have to take a drink of water. Oh, such a weird week this week. Just you, me, and a suspiciously high audio quality from my home setup. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Right now, the boys are in danger. And how do we save the boys? By getting high. So yeah, everyone basically figures out, holy shit, don't get low. And Mista risks his hand further to pull Narancia out of the boat. And Bucciarati is like, Mista, throw the turtle. Wait, he does not. No, he does. He does risk his hand. I got my order of operations confused. Because this is kind of going to be in the order that I watched these in. Mista lunges forward into the boat. Narancia lunges forward in the boat, going for the wheel. Mista is like, that's perfect. Shoots the engines on the boat, blows everyone sky high onto land. Because that's how you defeat green tea. You get high. But anyway, the boys are now on land. They know how the stand works. And Bucciarati falls out of the turtle. And that's where they leave us off. Because, of course, cliffhangers. Because the real stand battle begins next week. And it's cool. I like this power. I think it's interesting. And I want to see how it develops. And I'm really pulling for some, like, real bullshit thing at some point. Where it's like, actually, you thought my power was straightforward like this. But it was actually like this. Oh my god. Moving on. We have the best Naofumi ever. Shield Hero. So, last week, Philolial Queen was like, I'm gonna teleport you guys to an area closest to another hero. And they were like, sure. Turns out, we called it, ladies and gentlemen. We called it 150%. That hero was Motoyasu. Because of course it was. That's how plot works. That's how things happen in the plot. And all them conveniences and whatnot are all just clever writing devices. So they're all outside the checkpoint and they're like, what do we do? We're not going to get through that checkpoint. That's crazy. And now he's chill about it. He thinks for a second and he just says, I'm going to have to talk to these people eventually. No matter who it is, we're just going to have to talk to them and hope that it's one of the good heroes that lets us through. Is not. They go to the gate. Is Motoyasu. Of course it is. Naturally, Motoyasu is super not down with Naofumi showing up. He's like, what the hell, man? And he's even more aggro than normal. He's like taking it up to 11. That's where Motoyasu's at. He's throwing attacks, and Naofumi during the battles realizes, holy shit, Motoyasu actually wants to kill me. He is out for my own blood. Now, they fight for a little bit. Then Naofumi, I give him credit. He's trying. He's trying to talk through this one. He's like, dude, why would I do that? I don't have brainwashing powers. I can't tell people to do what I want. No one's my slaves. We gotta get along. Turns out Motoyasu is, as predicted, still in Mine's pocket. Fuck that bitch. Fuck, I hate Mine. So aggro. But Mine continues with her Grima Wormtongue-esque dialogue with our boy Motoyasu, dumbest boy. And basically it's a fight to the death, man. People are gonna get murked. Kind of. We also learned that people can do combo attacks. Like actual combo attacks, because Motoyasu built his party out of casters, and all the casters cast like wind magic. Oh no, have some fire magic too. Combine that with the spear. Now it's a super wind fire tornado spear. And then Naofumi, after realizing that he can do this with his allies, he just does it. He does it with his allies and wins really hard. Like he crushes. But then something strange happens. Something a little odd happens. Something a little different happens. They look around and realize that the guards that were surrounding them at the outpost are now gone. And the ever clever ears of our best raccoon girl, Raftalia, and best kinda lolly bird girl, angel girl, whatever. They basically, Naofumi's party is like, hey man, we gotta everybody get close. Everybody get super close. 'Cause something's coming. You need more shields. You need to shield the F up. So he does. Naofumi does his shield prison around everyone, and then he puts his airstrike shields up, and then an orbital bombardment happens. And that's kind of the best way I can think of to describe it, because like a large yellow beam shoots out of the sky, and it's so powerful it actually breaks through all of his shields down to pretty much just Naofumi holding his shield against it like a total bro. So he manages to barely, by the skin of his teeth, get through. And everyone's like, what the hell was that? Because the land around them is reduced to lava. It is lava. So there's confusion. There's confusion amongst the land. And mine kind of figures she knows something. She's like, hold on. That wasn't... Nah, it couldn't have been. Was it? Turns out it was. Organized religion, as expected, is the main villain in this arc. The Pope, and I'm not being facetious, literally the Pope shows up and is like, that's pretty impressive, Shield Devil. I gotta give it to you. You withstood my super powerful multi-caster ritual judgment attack. But you're not gonna get out of it again. And he pulls out some crazy sacred sword and is like, we're gonna hit you again. Just like we hit those other heroes. We orbitally bombarded those other two boys. And now Motoyasu and Naofumi are both equally shocked. Naofumi just having learned that Rem and Boy are presumed dead. And I say presumed because we haven't seen a body. Although, to be fair, I don't think we would with this one because, like, holy shit. It glasses planets. But our boys are like, why? Motoyasu's like, why would you destroy me and the other heroes? You love us. And then the Pope brings up, is one of the things about this show, man, like, things come around super hard. The Pope brings up how Motoyasu unleashed that unholy plague of evil plants. He brings up how Rem started a plague by leaving the body of a dragon just rotting on the mountain. And he also brings up how Boy destabilized things by being a vigilante? I don't know. That was a while ago. Whatever he did to mess things up, he brought that up too. So he's like, guess I'll just have to kill all of you. And I'll also kill the royal family because, like, we've got a government that we can set up, so don't worry about it. We'll just set up like a democracy or something. It'll be fine. This does not go over well, understandably, with Mine or Melty or pretty much anybody in the pit. They're like, nah, that's not cool, man. I'm good. Thanks, dude. And we get the Pope. He's charging up his judgment once again, charging up that judgment. So I guess we'll find out next week. We'll see what happens. Will our boys die? Will this be the end of the show? Did the other boys die? My answer to all of these questions? Probably not. Just taking a little shot in the dark there. Probably not. Although, this show is very good at genuinely subverting my expectations. So maybe next week we'll find out, holy shit, Rem and Boy are actually dead. I doubt it, though. They're probably fine. There was probably some bullshit or something. Anywho, to move on, next up on our docket, we have Midnight Occult Civil Servants. This show where government workers kind of half-ass dealing with supernatural entities. Because that's what this one really was. This was the ultimate half-assing, and it's not our problem anymore, of a supernatural entity going around and fucking things up. Essentially, there are reports of people going missing at the elevators in City Hall. They disappear, and then they come back sometime later without any memories. There's also like a blog poster who stopped posting, and they're like, holy shit, maybe that guy really disappeared. Oh my god. So of course, who better to investigate this than our boys down at the Night Occult, whatever it's called. The main characters, Arata and gang, show up. And they decide to go at night, because of course they do. That's when no one else is there, so that's the safe bet. They go and they test the elevators, and Pretty Science Boy goes in first, and he's like, don't worry guys, I'll let you know if any crazy stuff happens. Oh, before this, club host fella goes and interviews one of the victims, and she is just kind of like, yeah, it's weird. I was in there, and then I wasn't, and I was in the lobby, and I don't really remember, but like, I don't know, it was weird. And club host man decides, he figures it out. He's like, something's real weird, because she was real broken up about her boyfriend that she was engaged to. But when I went, and he broke up with her, but when I went to talk to her, she was fine. She was all fine and dandy. But the weird thing is, she remembered that he broke up with her. It's like all memories of her sadness were taken away. I wonder if that's foreshadowing. It is. Spoiler alert, it is. So, quick cut back to our boys. We see Science Man, Pretty Science Man, get in the elevator, and then he goes up. Meanwhile, club host feller and Arata get in another elevator, and they go up too, because they're like, it couldn't hurt, right? Turns out Science Boy goes in the elevator, and he goes up and is not caught whatsoever. For whatever reason, it discriminates against him. However, our other two fellas do. Their doors open, and they are taken to this weird pink cloud plane, where they're met with an enchanting woman in, I don't know, ancient garb, is the best way I can describe it, because I don't really care. Turns out she's the one who's been stealing people's memories. She's like, "Hey man, give me the thing, give me what I'm looking for. Come on, give me the thing. Come on, man, just give me that thing that I'm looking for." And Arata's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's holding this weird box. Huh. A woman who lost stuff and a strange box. I wonder who it could be. But she gets closer to the elevator and she's like, dang it. Nah, I'm sorry. You don't have the right stuff. You guys can leave now. And he speaks up. He's like, "Hey man, what was that about the finding stuff? What are you looking for?" And as always, lather, rinse, repeat. She's taken aback. She pulls him out of the elevator and she sends close club man of the famous Closed Club. She sends him back down and she's like, "Hey man, you can understand me? That's dope." And she rants on about finding what she's looking for and how she's stealing lost and whatever. Basically, a whole bunch of negative emotions were locked in her box, and she wanted to take just a tiny peek, but that let everything out into the world. So she's using elevators to take it back. It's kind of like a emotional Google, where it's like, "Hey, I'm looking for sense of loss or jealousy. Bring them to me." And since she messed with the settings, now it's bringing her people with like close stuff. Is close to a sense of loss, but it's not really the one she's looking for. And it's Pandora. And Arata finds out that she's almost done collecting her sense of loss, or the sense of loss, from Japan, and her next stop is to collect jealousy from Europe. And he starts texting his coworkers about everything, and he's like, "Nah, brah, it's fine. She's almost done. She's not taking people's memories on purpose, just like their feelings." And then it kind of wraps up with, it's fine. It won't be our problem in a little bit. She'll just leave on her own. And then it's Europe's problem. So fuck them. And there's something about that kind of speaks to me. And I swear to God, if I keep punching my microphone, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose it. So they just kind of like, yeah, whatever. There's something, it feels appropriate that these government workers would just be like, "Well, it's not our problem, so whatever." And that's kind of the high note that this show ends on. It was a thing, and I watched it, and then I stopped watching it because it was over. Now to the real candy, the dessert, the creme de la creme, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. Oh, such a good episode. Our boy Tanjiro, he goes to the town to discover what's up with the girls. He finds the boy who is related to the last girl who went missing. Turns out she's been real messed up. Or he's been real messed up. Well, she was real messed up too. But we'll get to that. The boy is super messed up. Because turns out they're like, "Whatever, you suck. We're going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. Tell me where my daughter is or I'm going to hit you." And they do. And he's all messed up. But Tanjiro comes across him, and the kid's like, "Man, I want one person to believe me. She just disappeared. And Tanjiro is like, I believe you. And he uses his super sniffer tracking powers to track down the demon. And he gets close. The demon is going to strike again that night. And we get to see, like, oh man, this show looks so good. Because we get to see this girl's house, and it's just the effort they put into the backgrounds is insane. It feels like this show at points has as much attention to detail and effort and love crafted into it that like a Studio Ghibli movie would, where everything is so stylized at points, but at others is very realistically drawn, particularly in the backgrounds. The backgrounds are very well drawn, and the characters are all very unique, and they stand out, and it's nice. But we get to see the demon strike again, and it strikes this girl in the middle of the night, and it abducts her. And Tanjiro uses his super sniffer to hunt it down and get into a super sick demon battle. Turns out it's a demon that split itself into 3 parts. One part is super angry, one part is like real chill, and then the third part is horrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. It doesn't speak, it just like scrapes its teeth together to create like this horrid chittering, scraping metal noise, and it legitimately freaked me out a little bit. I was like, all right, this needs to stop because I'm not okay with this. This is making me uncomfortable. Tanjiro, kill the demon. It's making me uncomfortable. But basically, the demon has like portal powers where it can go under the ground and I guess kind of like swim under the ground and through walls and shit. And Tanjiro gets in a super sick battle. He rescues the girl. He gives the girl to the boy. And he's like, protect the girl, man. Protect her. But also stay within my striking distance so I can protect you. Because that would suck. Getting killed by demons sucks. But he fights the demons a little bit. And he realizes the demons can't. Realizes that he figures that out. He figures out the demons go through the water like the ground. That's backwards. They go through the ground like the water. Water. And he can't. He strikes at him. He strikes at him a lot. But Tanjiro just can't get the kill and blow in because there's people around. He can't go full ham. He might hit a civilian. But luckily, as he is hit blindsided from behind by one of the 3 copies, or I guess, I don't know, one of the 3 bits, because they're not really copies. They're like split personality bits. Which is kind of terrifying if you have a chittering bit. That is awful. But just as he's getting blindsided, his sister springs into action, does a sweet kick, kicks one of the demon's heads backwards, like full back around. And then the demons are like, oh shit, what's going on? I gotta analyze this situation. Why is there a demon fighting with a swordsman? What's going on? That's not cool. What? Oh my good golly gosh. And then they fight a little bit. And then we get a cliffhanger. We get a nice little cliffhanger. We also learn a couple other things in the episode. We learn that Tanjiro's sword, if you remember, it is black. Not a lot of people have black swords, so they kind of associate it as a bad omen, because no one really knows what it does, because there's not a lot of them. We also learn that there is, I can't remember his name, but there is one demon in particular who is known to go around and turn people into demons. And Mr. Urokodaki, or Tengu-san, as some of you might know him, he is like, hey Tanjiro, this demon would probably know how to fix your sister. You gotta go find him. So now that's part of Tanjiro's repertoire of questions. But anyway, that's this episode of Demon Slayer in a nutshell. It's super good, and you should totally watch it because it's great. Another show that I find just amazing, Hitori Bochi, the kawaiiest girl. Alright, so we've all had to present in front of a class, right? And it's never fun. Never. Unless you really like that. Then it's super fun. But whatever. Turns out, Bochi has to present a haiku she wrote to class. And she naturally dreads this, because of course she does. But she writes a haiku in like 3 seconds, goes to bed, and wakes up completely fine after praying for illness. She goes to school, she runs into best, I don't want to call her ragamuffin friend, because she's really kind of not. She just kind of comes across that way to people. But she meets up with her ragamuffin friend, and turns out her friend spent like 4 hours writing the haiku, and she's very taken aback by how good the haiku that Bochi wrote was. And Bochi is also, she's like, I'm dreading this with every fiber of my being, but I have a couple secret techniques that my mom taught me. So, cut to class. Hard cut, smash cut to class. Is Bochi time. Bochi's in class. Her teacher's talking about some inane junk, because once again, her teacher is absolutely terrified of her ragamuffin friend. And we see that she once again is like, man, I gotta get over it, or else I'm never gonna be able to resign. Or actually, maybe I should resign. I don't know. I'm timid. She's still afraid. She tries to be brave and pep herself up. Then she leaps to the top of the stairs to be met with Bochi and Ragamuffin Friend, and to immediately just buckle under the pressure, which is great. But regardless of the teacher's fears, we cut to class. The teacher is still absolutely terrified. But you know what? So is Bochi. However, she has secret techniques. And Ninja Friend is like, whoa, secret techniques? Teach them to me, sensei. Teach me the secret techniques. And Bochi does. And oh boy, are they secret techniques. So, she gained 2 secret techniques from her mom. The first one is she tends to stiffen up when she gets scared, like some kind of fainting goat, I'm assuming. And instead of being like, hey, I'm gonna stutter here for a little bit, she just stiffens up. She locks up. So, Bochi is doing like this crazy, I will admit, ninjutsu looking arm exercise. She just kind of like waves them around in the air, mystically going, secret technique, secret technique, secret technique. And of course, Ninja Girl thinks, holy shit, this is part of my training. And she starts doing it too. And Ragamuffin Friend is like, guys, stop that. Stop. It's not No, it's not a secret. You just look like crazy people. You just look insane. And then it's Bocchi's turn. Prep is over. Bocchi has one tool in her repertoire she's used. She starts heading up. Bam! Leg cramps. Oh no. She gets to the podium anyway. Her last technique given to her, passed down from her mother. Pretend like everyone is a potato. So she tries this. She closes her eyes. She focuses. Everyone's a potato. Everyone's a potato. She opens her eyes. Everyone is people. It didn't work. It was not good. It was not good shit. But Aru-chan she's in on it. She's like, something's, I think Miss Ragamuffin over there has been giving her some inane advice, like telling her everyone's potatoes and other dumb junk that won't work. Meanwhile, Bocchi is struggling. She gets Summer out, barely. And then she throws up. As usual, Bocchi gets so nervous that she just lets it all loose, so to speak. And everyone's just kind of like, ew. The teacher is very worried about her student, which is good. And, yeah. We're proud. We're proud of Bocchi for being able to get up there. Get up and do, well, she didn't do her thing. But she tried, and that's admirable. And, yeah. Second part, the teacher, she knows something's up. Because that Ragamuffin girl, she's scary. But it's weird, though. Because Ragamuffin girl is good friends with Bocchi, and Bocchi seems harmless. Then she figures it out. She sees the underlying game. Bocchi is a gang leader. The followers, the harmlessness. She's running the scenes from the shadows, man. She goes to spy on him back in the classroom. She sees Ninja Girl throwing shurikens. And the teacher's like, holy shit. Ninja Girl is part of her crew. She doesn't want to make friends. By friends, she means henchmen. I've unraveled the mystery. I've unraveled this strange game. Then she needs to do it. She approaches Bocchi. And she's like, hey man, you seem troubled. And I'm sorry, but I can't be your friend. And I won't be your friend. And this is weird because Bocchi doesn't really understand any of where she's coming from because that's what a crazy person would think. So Bocchi's just kind of confused. But meanwhile, the teacher's like, listen, I'm your teacher. I'm supposed to be in a different league than you. It's okay. And I'll be here if you need me, and I'll support you. I'll do what I can. And this kind of brings Bocchi back. So, I'm real glad that teacher being afraid of one particular student has come back and evolved into teacher being afraid of a pretend underground syndicate between the nervous girl, the ragamuffin, and the ninja. That's real good. And this show is real cozy. Something else that's real cozy, we got the helpful fox, Senko-san. Shiro, the other fox, spirit, one of the other two, shows up. She just kind of shows up. She's like, "Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going?" Our main boy comes home, and he sees, "Oh crap! There's another one. There's two of them now. There are two." Well, okay. So this fox is a white fox, and her name is Shiro, and she's just kind of like, "Yeah, Senko hasn't been doing a good enough job," and her version of pampering comes with a lot of innuendo. Meanwhile, our boy is just like, "Man, I really want to fluff that tail. It's so fluffy. I want to fluff it." But long story short, she kind of bewitches him into telling her what his dark innermost fantasies are. And he's like, "I want to fluff the tail. Let me fluff the tail." This creeps her the hell out. She flies through the wall to escape him into manga artist neighbor's house, startling the hell out of her, before just kind of being like, "Yeah, whatever, it's no biggie, GG, dude," and leaving. GTTing, whatever. She gets out, she leaves, and then she observes for a little distance because Senko lets him fluff her tail. And then she's like, "Yeah, this job ain't for me. This one ain't mine. She can have him." Now we're in the second bit. We're in the second little mini thing. Basically, it's tubby time. They do tub time together. They get in the tub. Senko gets in the tub. Senko washes his back. He washes Senko's back. It's kind of weird. I feel like there's a cultural thing that I'm not really getting, but that's okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to. And that's Senko-san this week. There's a silver fox, a white fox, tried to have sex with him, and then he took a strangely platonic bath with an 800-year-old fox spirit. And that's all I'm going to delve into that. It's another cozy show. It makes me feel cozy. Usually, this one kind of didn't. This was not the coziest of episodes for me personally. But that's fine. Because the next show is awesome. Because it's always awesome. We got Robi Hachi. Boy, we go to the onsen planet. That's right. The hot springs episode. Because every show needs a hot springs episode. Basically, they go to Hot Springs Planet. They're like, "Oh man, we need a travel pass to get to Eastkender because we just can't travel without one. So we might as well stay and enjoy Hot Springs Planet." And they do that. They do just that. They go. Robbie, as usual, tries to get with many women. Unsuccessfully, because there's a lot of like traveling tourist girls don't like older men, so you're not gonna be very popular, Robbie. We get some weird depth to Hachi this week, because basically he travels with their little robot butler dude, and they're trying to gather information about the planets, while also sampling the I don't want to call them natural delicacies, but the planet-bound delicacies that people tend to enjoy. And turns out they hear about this dangerous man, the Lord of the Underworld. Not that underworld, but like he's the crime boss of the seedy underbelly. And everyone is afraid of him Turns out he leaves people hollow and broken. That's how horrible it is. Which I was like, this whole episode, all they did was hype up how bad it was. And I was like, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be pretty good, isn't it? It's going to be pretty sweet. Turns out it is. Robbie gets information from people. We get to see that there's a little bit more going on in Hachi's mind. And did I say Robbie gets information from people? That's incorrect. It's Hachi. Hachi gets information from people. He also skips very carefreely. And they're like, well, if we want a travel pass, we could go back to Earth. And Hachi's like, if I go back to Earth now, well, let's just say we can't go back to Earth now. We can't turn around. It's a little sketchy. Hachi's a little sketchy this week. The way he gathers information from a bartender and then the bartender's daughter. And then they find out what they got to do. Turns out the crime lord built all of the hot springs on the planet because he's super obsessed with them. So he is he's something of an entrepreneur, so to speak. But they figure out the information. They go to the gate, which has guards that are eggmen, like short little eggmen with spears, which is a little interesting, I'll say. It's an interesting direction to go. And they're like, they learn from the bartender's daughter that you should never look directly at him. It makes the process of dealing with him so much easier. Just so much. Of course, they don't follow this advice, but whatever. They look directly at him. Turns out he's a fuzzy pink wombat. And he is the Lord of Love. He has so much love, it's infectious to other people. And our main boys, they get it. But what happens when they get it? Nothing. Nothing, really. They're just like, man, what a very overwhelming love experience. And then they ask him, hey, can we get some travel passes? We want to go to East Kendar. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll print some up for you. No worries, dudes. And then they go back to the I'll call it an intergalactic airport. Or it's more like a way station. It's an intergalactic way station. And the feller there behind the desk is like, hey, do you guys have your travel passes? And then right then a group passes behind them that's like, hey, everybody, let's go to East Kendar. And they don't show any passes. And they're like, what's up? And the dude behind the desk is like, oh, yeah, anyone who's going to East Kendar, we worked out a special deal. So, like, they don't need their tickets. They can just go. They can just go. And this is a pretty good way to end. This is a little bit of poetic justice that they didn't have to do really anything. So, now we are finally on our final program of the week. Kono Oto Tomare, also known as that Koto show that I really didn't think I would like quite as much as I do. Basically, this week we are introduced to a shitty person. We get someone who I'm going to call sabotaging psychopath girl, because that's kind of all she does. She's pretty, she shows up, and she tries to sabotage everyone's friendships by being like, hey, I heard they were saying this about you behind your back, but that's okay. And she really seems to have it out for Prodigy Girl, which is, I don't know, We'll probably learn at some point why she has it out for Prodigy Girl, but maybe we won't. Who knows? But that's basically how the episode goes. She talks some mad hot shit, tries to prove that people don't need friendship and other weird bullshit. The episode starts with everyone being super blown away to, I would say, a pretty unrealistic extent, because like these are high schoolers, man. They don't give a shit about the Koto. But psychopath girl sets out to sabotage everything. Kudo, because he is best boy, sees through this completely and is like, yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Anything that you say, I'll only believe it when I hear it from her mouth. And we see that Kudo's grandfather made him a Koto that's beautiful and worth 1 million yen. Holy shit. We also see Kudo goes to deliver some stuff to Prodigy Girl's house. She's gone for one day. And I also love how the teacher approaches this. He's like, she's gone, but like, Kudo's in her club, and she's the only one he talks to. I'll just give him the assignment. I'll write her address on the top, and then I'll give him the assignment, and it'll be fine, whatever. And Kudo is kind of put upon, but since he is the best boy, he goes to basically deliver it to her house. And we see that Prodigy Girl, who's supposedly part of a very rich and illustrious family, turns out she's living in kind of a shitty apartment. And there's not even like a nameplate or nothing. So, next week we'll probably learn a little bit about that. Oh, and we also learn about the advisor, the class advisor to the Koto Club. He's a piece of shit too. I guess vice principal has been defeated, so I guess they need another person to move on to beat with beautiful Koto music, I guess. But I like that show a lot. I like watching high school kids do high school Koto Club stuff. I enjoy it. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Protagonist Seat, of me talking endlessly into the void by myself like a crazy person, instead of with my normal co-host buddy Alex, like a series of crazy people, then drop a like on this video, and also click that subscribe button, that superscribe button, and you'll get automatic updates on when we upload videos. And Alex posts some very good videos that aren't podcast. Well, they're anime related, but not podcast related. And those are pretty good. Check those out too. Feel free to follow us on the Twitter. That is at Protagonist Seat. That I did not have to look up on my phone, because I am totally the one who always reps our Twitter. Of course I am. But anyway, have a nice day. And yeah, whatever. Goodbye, man. See ya. Stick around. We love it. We love it when people stick around.